I walked in the place, sat by the bar, all the drinks on me, don't go too far, sitting by the bartender, asked her.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon. We're here on 910 Sports Podcast once again. First and foremost, I always have to do this. I have to thank God for this opportunity to be able to come on this platform, to be able to have these great interviews, these great conversations with great people. Hopefully my partner, Jacob, will be on here in a minute. He has some technical difficulties, but hopefully we can get him in here in a second. So today I have a coach out of the North Carolina area, the Carolina area. He's coached out of Virginia. He's an ex-football player himself. He's an offensive coordinator now at Walkertown High School. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And so I have Ian Tatum in the building, y'all. Ian Tatum. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. I really appreciate you having me on here, talk a little bit football, which is always a good day when you can do that. So I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So basically, we always like to get it started and basically just to tell people who you are as, and what's your background. Basically, where you come from, how you got started in this business and how you got up to where you are in your career now. So if you can kind of just let us know who is Ian Tatum.
Sure. So like you said, I'm Ian Tatum. I'm from North Carolina, the Rockingham County part of North Carolina, not where the racetrack is. That's more southern part of North Carolina. I'm at the northern part.
Before you say that, I know that part because I'm from Southern Pines myself.
Okay. Yeah. So, so not down there. Like, if you know, some people that may be watching this know North Carolina football. If you know, like Reidsville is a powerhouse in North Carolina. I'm like from that part of the world, like northern part of Greensboro.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. I was grew up, loved sports. Didn't play any other sports but football for like a school or anything. But I was always playing, things out in the backyard or at the park, stuff like that with my friends and stuff like that. But yeah, football was my deal. I was actually homeschooled. So I played for like a private team out of the Greensboro area and did that. It was a little bit of a unique journey that way, but played ball out there and went to be I walked on at Gardner-Webb University on the other side of Charlotte. Ended up playing a little bit there, and then ended up getting into. I know I want to be a coach, so getting up hurt, stuff like that. Ended up being just like, hey, I want to join the team another way. I guess being like a student assistant. So joined the football team there at the university as a student assistant. Get my feet wet and doing anything, whether it be equipment, film, sitting in meetings, setting up the field. Basically being, a shadow of the offensive line coach. So did that for another year. And then I left school physically to start going online. And I came back and I started coaching for that private team out of Greensboro, like an independent league type deal. Did that for 3 years. And then I wanted to spread my wings out, and I decided to go out to Virginia Beach. Getting an opportunity to be a coach offensive line at Tallwood High School in Virginia Beach. If anybody knows anything about the Tidewater area out there, it's really good football between Chesapeake, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Newport News, and Hampton. The Hampton Roads area, it's really good football. So seized that opportunity. I'm like, I'm going to go play against some of the best. So didn't do that, go coach out there. Did that for a year, and that was in 2019. And literally that next March, everybody knows COVID happened. So I was sitting there in my apartment during COVID, couldn't really do much. I was, I was working as an ISS coordinator in the high school, working in discipline, and was working DoorDash at night because like all those, food delivery places were booming during COVID. So I was trying to make some money on the side. And then my dad got prostate cancer. And I was like, well, I'm going to move home, which was probably one of the best decisions I made because I moved home. And I started coaching at North Rowan High School, just north of Salisbury, which is like an hour and a half north of Charlotte, in the middle part of the state. And coached there for the next 3 years. Took on the OC offensive coordinator title, but the head coach was the true play caller. So I was kind of like learning how to be a play caller, how to be an offensive coordinator, organizational type things, how to run an offense, stuff like that. I guess with training wheels. And then my head coach moved back to South Carolina where he was from. So then I was looking for a new opportunity, and then I landed at Walkertown. So since March, I've been at Walkertown, and we are 4 games in. We played a really strong and tough non-conference schedule. We're unfortunately 1-3 right now, but the last 3 games have been against like top teams in the state. So trying to get through this next week, which we're on a bye now. So trying to figure out how to get the guys going again. But yeah, it's a little bit about me. You know, I was no really good football player. I tell my kids that all the time. I believe in being honest with your players. I wasn't some great football player, but I have a passion for coaching. And so this is what I do. And, I love, pouring into young men, man.
Okay. Jacob, you there? I'm going to make sure I can.
Yeah, I'm here, man. How y'all doing?
Good.
How are you?
Yeah, so go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and let you continue on with the interview, Jacob. Ask your question. You know how we do. And then I'll jump.
So, Coach, from an offensive line perspective, man, how is it important to you that your whole offense know how important the offensive line is when it comes to winning football games?
Yeah, so offensive line is critically important. I say that obviously I'm a little biased because I played the position and that's what I coach. But I think when you look at it, the vast majority of teams that win or are successful, they win because they're great in the trenches, whether it be the offensive or the defensive line. Being able to run the ball, being able to protect, you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to protect the quarterback if you're going to have any success. And I think if you look at some of the more dominant teams, whatever level it is, like Alabama's always had a great offensive line, or the New England Patriots when Tom Brady was there. Like, yeah, they had Tom Brady, but their offensive line and Dante Scarnecchia, the offensive line coach, was dominant all the time. So any level you look at, you're going to have dominant offensive linemen, and I think getting the skill guys to understand that and kind of love that position group up is very important as well, because we don't get very much recognition. We don't keep stats, even though I could track pancakes, but we don't get stats in the record book. So what we do as a team, if we rush for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns, well, the offensive line rushed for 3 touchdowns and 250 yards. So trying to make those guys feel special and get as much recognition as you can.
Okay, so from that standpoint of view, when it comes to offensive linemen getting the scholarships to go to the next level, what are some of the training methods and the techniques and the mentorship conversations that you have with your offensive linemen? Because, everybody looks for the running back and the quarterback, the wide receivers, the tight ends. And, when it comes to the offensive linemen, how do they set themselves apart to have schools to look at them?
So aside from the obvious, which is size and strength, let's just say everybody's not blessed with that. So I think if you got size and strength, they're gonna find you. But let's say you're the standard high school lineman, outside of these big schools, but you're just an average offensive lineman that's 6 foot, 200, whatever. How can you set yourself apart? Well, the big thing I know when I talk to college coaches is number one thing that they're looking for is mentality. How do you play the game? Are you nasty? Do you finish plays? Do you do everything that you need to do to help communicate? Are you working your double teams and making calls and stuff like that? So little things that aren't physical traits. You got to be nasty. You got to finish plays. You have to make sure you're dominating your assignment. Because at the end of the day, anybody can look good, but a lot of times some guys look like Tarzan, but they play like Jane. So can you show that, hey, I'm a dog, as the kids like to say these days, and I can finish plays, and I'm getting pancakes, and when I'm, I throw a guy on the ground, I knocking them on the ground and staying on them and all that stuff. So showing the coaches things that stand out like that. Then how do you move? Are your hips tight? Are you a waist bender, or can you be flexible? Can you pull? Can you run? Do you bend at your knees and look good in the stance? Things like that. Those things that if I was working with guys privately, those are things I'm really trying to harp on. Is working on flexibility, working on make sure we bend at our knees, we come out of our stance low. When we pull, we stay low. We're fast through. And then, where our hand placement is, hat placement, all those different things. It's little things like that will get you noticed more than, hey, this guy's big. Yeah, but he sucks, right? Can't move. So how you look on film is huge. And then at the end of the day, every college coach will tell you, does he finish? Does he finish plays? So that's what I'll say.
Okay, so when it comes to the tackle position, both sides, right and left, and the pulling guard along with the center, what are some things that college coaches look for when it comes to the techniques, when it comes to how they throw the flipper, and when it comes to how they pass block? So what do you prepare them so a college coach would pick them, whether it's Division I, JUCO, NIA, Division II, or Division III? Because a scholarship is a scholarship no matter where you go, as long as somebody pick you up. So what are things that those college coaches look for in the offensive lineman, no matter what position you play?
Yeah. So I think we'll break it down each category. So let's say pass pro. So pass protection. One thing that's big at the next level is the concept of independent hands. And what that means is instead of striking with two hands, because a lot of times when you strike and you go to block somebody with two hands, your chest goes forward and you lean too far forward. Independent hands is obviously your hands are working independently. So if I'm a right tackle, my right hand is my outside hand. So that's the one I'm going to try and stab and stop momentum of a defensive end with. And then my left hand, either I'm going to take it and put it on his inside and drive him out and make him run the hump all the way around, or I'm going to protect my inside. So being able to play with your hands independently that's a skill that the next level look for, especially in tackles. With guards, being able to do that with guards isn't as important because you're dealing with bigger guys on the inside, whether it be a three technique or a nose or shade. So they're not really looking for that. But what I would tell them in pass pro for guards or centers is moving your feet side to side, because those guys, they're going to stunt gaps. They're going to move. They're going to go A gap this way, B gap this way. So you got to be able to set to the right and then power down and anchor down back to the left, stuff like that. Moving your feet, being very light on your feet, stuff like that. Centers, I think center's one of the hardest positions to play in football, because you have to make sure you're snapping that ball correctly, precisely, and you got to make sure you're blocking your guy. So definitely making sure that you're consistent on your snaps, which just takes reps. There's different methods to it, but at the end of the day, it's reps. And then your hand placement off ball. So if you're a right-handed guy, your left hand, which is your off ball hand, make sure you get that on the defender now, and then you can work on your pass sets. I think big thing for, let's say, run blocking, or just let's say pulling, is really just how fast you can get there and how aggressive you can finish. I don't think there are different nuances that you could get into, but I think at the end of the day, they want to see, are you an athlete? I mean, the days of a big old dude just going and getting a scholarship are really out, because these guys' conditioning and training have come so far that they can pick and choose. Like, hey, this guy runs well, even though he's 6'4", 300 pounds. This guy runs very, very well, and he can pull and he can move. So making sure that you do well on those different things is very important. So working on, hey, you need to run. You need to, not run miles, but you need to make sure you're getting out, you're moving, have your feet moving, and actually run, and get faster. Because these linebackers are fast. When you're trapping a DN, these DNs are different nowadays. They're they're not defensive linemen, they're edge rushers, So you make sure that you can actually compete with different positions, because not everybody looks like a defensive lineman anymore traditionally. So make sure you can actually compete with these fast guys. I think, but I'm going to go back to, I think at the end of the day, making sure that you finish every rep violently and nasty is going to get you recruited over anything else you do, because that's what stands out on the highlight film. And that's what I have coaches telling me all the time. Like, hey, that's what I look for. Can he move? Does he finish violently? And is he coachable? That's a big thing. Is he coachable? Because, a lot of these kids, and, love them to death, but as soon as you start coaching them, they take it personal, and they start, like you're being too critical of them. They shut down, or they start fighting back. So being coachable, do what you're told to do. You have to explain to them why nowadays, but make sure that you actually tell them, hey, this is what I'm trying to get you to do. Don't take it personal. So be coachable as well.
Right. So with you being the offensive coordinator as well, like, what is your playbook like? Like, what are your 5 favorite plays to run, and how effective have they been for you and the players, and to put people in the seats?
Okay. So for me, so 5 favorite plays. Okay. So number one, I'm going to go with power. Power is my favorite play. I said we can run it any way we want to, whether it be, traditional power read, you bring a motion run power, however you want to do it. I would say run power. It's a physical A gap to B gap run, and the lineman get the pull. That's a big thing. I love to pull linemen. The guard gets to pull, and they have fun with it. Anytime you get to pull as a lineman is a great time. Second, I'm an offensive line guy, so there's going to be a lot of runs on here. But counter, I don't think if you're not running counter, especially at our level, at the high school level, I think you're doing your offense a disservice, because it can mess with the linebackers so much. Seeing things go one way and we're coming back the other, running counter, whether it be GT, guard tackle counter, whether it be GH, which is just guard like H-back counter. You got to. I think you have to, because it's a good change up to run in power, or if you run inside zone, anything like that. Then that's 2. I moved this passing game. I love the flood concept. Working at least 3 guys into the zones, and flooding the zones, and get a high, a medium, and a low area we're attacking, and spread out to it. Any coach that calls plays, you want to throw it deep. So I'll say 4 verts. Anything that has 4 vertical routes going down the field, make the defense have to defend you, man. Like on Friday night, we connected on a deep ball for like 60 yards. It was like the crowd was going crazy, right? The crowd wants to see you throw the ball through the air and see points scored. So that one's big. And then I guess the next thing I say, just because it helps you move the sticks, which is what you got to do as an offense, is the stick route. Just having a guy run 6 to 7 yards, turn around and hitch up, having a guy run the flat, guy run deep, reading the outside backer. That's what I'll say is a stick route. That's an air raid term for some people that don't know, but they have the stick concept.
Okay. So we're going to switch your defense, and then I hand it back to you. Now, right. I'm going to name a few defenses. 4-4, 5-3, 4-3, 5-2, and 6-2. Which is your favorite, and how is it effective? And out of all those defenses, what do you come up against most when you're playing other teams?
Okay. I would say out of those, what we see the most is probably 4-4, because that changes between a true 4-4, 4 linebackers, 4 guys, 4 D linemen, to also being a 4-2-5, where those outside backers can also go out and play skill. So we see that more often than not. What we have more success with is probably against that. And just because more often than not, a 4-4, 4-2-5, whatever you want to call it, an even front defense, usually those D linemen stay put. They line up in a gap and they play that gap. So as an offensive coach or an offensive line coach, especially, I don't have to worry about a lot of stunting. Not a lot of head up techniques, not a lot of hey, we're gonna play knock back and peek a gap or two gaps like that. I know you're gonna play. If you're in a shade on the center, you're gonna play A gap. If you're in a 3 technique, you'll play B gap, and you're gonna have 2 5s to play C's. All right, cool. So it means the bubbles are in the A and the B gap, backside and front side. So that helps my guys, because when you play odd front defenses, those guys, they can stunt either gap. So now you're having to teach, your double teams aren't as good necessarily, because a head up technique, doubling head up technique is not as easy as doubling a guy in a gap. So I would say definitely I would rather go against an even front defense, because they also don't necessarily blitz as much out of those as well. So.
All right, so one more question I can hand it back to you now. With me playing defensive line and playing football, throughout my years, man, and what I see now, when I came up, if you was the predominant nose guard, everybody loved you and looked at you. And so why have they took the nose guard out defenses nowadays? And do you think it should be put back in defenses? And do you think if a nose guard is a great nose guard, he gonna raise some eyebrows? When it comes to getting scholarships, when it comes to making all region or making all state. So, what is your thoughts on the nose guard position?
Yeah. So I believe that if I was running a defense, I'm an offensive guy. But if I was to run a defense, I would start with a 3-4 defense, because I believe in having a guy head up on that center and whipping his butt all night. It is one of the tougher blocks. They have to sit there and snap and have a guy head up. It's one of the hardest things to do. And what's the number one thing an offense needs to get done first is the snap between the center and the quarterback. So if you can affect that in any way off the gate, I think that you have an advantage. And so you have a good nose that can get his hands on the center really quick, where he can stunt a gap left or right and make that center have to think about him over snapping that ball. You're gonna have high snaps, low snaps, and that just helps you as a defense. I love the nose. I think that even front teams that put a true nose over into a 1 or into the A gap, I think you're not really affecting the center like you would be with a big nose in the middle. I'm a Ravens fan. If you can't see the Baltimore fan cave right there, so we play a 3-4 defense, and so like one of my favorite players was Brandon Williams, played nose for the Ravens, or like Haloti Nada played nose for the Ravens. Like, you got to have big dudes in the middle of that defense to shut down the A gap. But I love the nose. I love the nose. If I was a head coach and I wanted somebody to come run a defense for me, I would definitely have them run an odd front and have a head up nose.
Okay. So Ravens fan, I can understand. And they have had some legendary nose guards. So, I can really understand that, especially, in that Ray Lewis era and Ed Reed era, they had some predominant nose guards. So, and they expecting a lot from y'all this season. So we're gonna see what happens, man. But I come back to you.
Okay, so before we get back into all the questions, we got to shout out our affiliates, Village Global Network, our 8 stations with them, 146 countries that we are worldwide. Also follow us on YouTube at 910 Sports and Entertainment Network. And it's spelled exactly how I say it, 910 Sports and Entertainment Network. It's spelled all the way out. And if you want to book yourself or get scheduled for an interview, hit us up on icone910sports at gmail.com. That's IKONE 910sports at gmail.com. Or if you want to book us for any event that you have coming up for media or hosting or anything else. So anyway, back to the interview. So Coach, so basically you were saying that y'all 1-3 right now, and y'all have some hard competition. So what are you, 4A, 5A? What level of high school are you?
No, so we're 2A, but 2A. We played Salisbury High School, which is right now ranked in most of these polls number 2 in 2A.
Okay.
We played them, and we played Forest Hills down in Union County, which is on the other side of Charlotte. They're ranked in the top 5. So that was back-to-back games. And then we last night we played North Davidson, which is a 3A school, so higher classification. They hadn't won a game so far, but they had played all 4A schools, all really good 4A schools. So they were trying to get on track as well, playing a tough schedule. So this was kind of like game to get back on track for both of us. So we played a pretty tough schedule so far, but we have a bye week coming up and get ready for conference.
So how do you feel in these first 4 weeks as far as, you're playing this harder competition? It's kind of like, for Alabama sometimes playing against some of these, other schools, and the other schools kind of, trying to get their name out there, trying to gauge where they're at. So as far as what you've seen so far, of course, you want to see some improvement. So what things have you seen that y'all can get better at? And what things have you seen that y'all pretty much like on par with what you've seen through training camp and preseason, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So, the main objective from our head coach of playing this hard schedule was to do hard things together. Like you want to be a team, you want to put them through some adversity before we get to conference. All right, well, let's do that. So I think playing a hard schedule makes you a better team on the back end. So some things that we don't necessarily do well right now. Up front, we don't run block very well, which hurts my heart right now. We're not moving guys off the ball and getting linebackers right now, which is frustrating, and it makes you lose sleep, especially as the O-line coach, not just as the play caller, as the O-line coach. So that I'm racking my brain, and I'm hitting up all my buddies that coach throughout college ranks to try and get some things fixed. Because I think we got a lot of talent right there. We just got to get them together. We got to get them moving. So things that we do well, and we found some success last night, was in the RPO game. Being able to call throws from the sideline based off of leverage of corners and outside backers and stuff like that to receivers, and getting the ball out quick based off of how we've been playing up front. We had some success, and we were able to score some points. Because the last couple of weeks that we've been kind of stuck in the mud. So being able to do that, we found our rhythm a little bit throwing it. So going to be able to grow in that. And, hey, if this is what we do well, hey, then let's make sure we keep doing that, because that's what's going to give our guys the best situation to be successful. So I think coming out of camp, I don't think we would have been able to say that, because we were running the ball pretty well. So I had to try and figure out, hey, what's going not necessarily wrong, but what has made us take a step back in that area so we can start getting going again.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, if any people that know anything about football, if on both sides of the ball, if your front four is stout, you going, that's kind of almost like half the battle right there, probably more than half the battle. If you look at Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, the teams that have been successful, won national championships on the college level, a lot of that came because of that front four was so stout that, like you can kind of mask other things, when that front four, especially you as an offensive coordinator, understanding, if we can run the ball, then, that's a big thing, because, pass blocking and run blocking is two different things, but that run blocking lets you know that you're physical and that you winning that battle up front, or whatever. So do you think, is there anything as far as like, the players size wise or bulk wise, and those type of things, or do you have smaller players at that position, or do you feel like they're size wise they're there, or they just need to improve on the skill level and the technique stuff?
No, I think size wise we're really good. I think it's more technique, but at the end of the day, I think it's also because we don't have many guys. I think out of my 5 offensive linemen, 3 of them are playing defensive line as well. And we try to rotate as best we can, so that doesn't always happen, but they're having to play both ways. So I think when they get back to offense, when they get back to defense, like they're, trying to not catch their breath, but it's like, all right, well, let's go to offense now, or all right, let's go to defense now, because we just came off the field. The only break we had was on that special teams play in the middle. So trying to get guys rotated, and then trying to find just some continuity, because I think we had great depth in the first 2 weeks, And then after our second game, like in a span of like 3 days, I had 3 guys get hurt and they're out. So I have a guy that broke his foot, guy broke his wrist and he's out, and then a guy was in concussion protocol. So I went from having, some good depth of starters or guys we could rotate to having 3 guys out just overnight. So then trying to get some guys in there to try to get to build some continuity and just, hey, we all play together. We know how each other play isn't there right now. So then I think that'll come over time. But then we got to make sure we try to keep the same guys in there all the time. And when my starting tackle breaks his leg, breaks his ankle, and then my right tackle goes in concussion protocol. So now I'm having to put 2 new guys in there that haven't played, but they weren't the starters. Now I'm trying to get those guys back up to speed, and we all work together again. So trying to figure those things out, and that just comes with reps. So I think we'll be fine in the long haul, but we just got to get to that point.
Okay. So do y'all have a young team, or do y'all have like a veteran team?
We are extremely young, and we don't try to use that as a crutch. But we only have 8 seniors. We have a large sophomore class, and then a decently sized junior class. But all those juniors didn't play varsity last year. Gotcha. So when I say we might have some juniors, but they're all first year varsity guys. Gotcha. And we're using a lot of sophomores to fill some spots that are going to be really good. But again, they're sophomores. So trying to get those guys to go. And really on the outside, on skill positions, we're really young. 3 of the seniors are on the offensive line, but 2 of them are hurt now. So now I only have 1. So yeah, we're pretty young. We try not to use that as an excuse. We try to say, hey, this is an opportunity for us to get better. Because look, down the road, it's gonna help. It's gonna help us out on the back end. Because now they've been playing for 2-3 years. So yeah.
So in the era that we're going into now, and at the quarterback position, is your quarterback dual threat, or is he more of a pocket passer type? Because we know that kind of helps out a lot of things when you have a quarterback that's a dual threat, or a quarterback that's like has a cannon or a good arm where he can get the ball out pretty quickly to kind of save your offensive line. I'm trying to think what game I was watching. They was saying that the quarterback, like Bryce Young, basically, he was, last year he kind of mastered a lot of stuff for Alabama by being the dual threat quarterback when they was having some issues on offense, and like Clemson, you kind of seeing where their struggles is and things of that nature. So it's good to have that quarterback that can run or pass the ball when need to. So what type of quarterback do y'all have?
Yeah, I guess you could classify him as a dual threat, but I think his strength is not necessarily, let's not say speed, but he's a power guy. He's a really good athlete, big guy, but this is his first year playing quarterback. And the reason he's playing quarterback is he's a good athlete. He's a baseball guy. His first year ever playing football. He's just a best athlete in our school. Like, hey man, we'd love for you to come out and play football. Worked on him all spring while he's playing baseball. Hey, when baseball's over and we get to summer, we'd love for you to come out and play ball. Finally got him to say yes, came out, loves it, but he's never played quarterback before. So we're trying to get him up to speed, and he's getting better. Last night, we threw for more yards than we have all year because now he's getting more comfortable, which is great. But I would say he's a dual threat because he's pretty fast, but he's also going to lay his shoulder and run over some folks. So love that power runner mentality as well. But definitely, we're not hurting at quarterback, but like when you have a guy that comes out in the summer for the first time to play football and he's your quarterback, there's going to be growing pains, which I think we're getting through right now. And he's come a long way. So, I love where we're at with him right now.
Okay. So ideally, if you had your perfect scenario as far as offense, would it be pass happy? Would it be run happy? Would it be balanced? Would it be spread offense? So what kind of offense is kind of your perfect scenario offense?
Yeah, so I'm a spread guy. I like spreading it out. I like getting, I say spread, but I'll say shotgun because I'll go 5 receivers. I'll go 2 tight ends and an H-back. So whatever personnel that I have, that's what I want to put on the field. But I'll say shotgun to be more modern times. But and then run pass, I prefer to be balanced. I'm gonna run the ball first, but I prefer to be balanced. I do like to throw the ball. But if I give a percentage, I'd probably say 65-35 on the run first. But yeah, I definitely want to I want to get the ball out to my athletes in space. But then I want to get some tight ends and some H backs in there, and I want to try to pound the rock as well. So that's a little bit. That's how my philosophy works.
So before I get back to Jacob, let me ask you this question because since it's been such a big topic over the offseason. Where do you see the running back as being at the fact that you kind of on the ground floor as a high school coach? So where do you see the future of a running back really going in your honest opinion? Because it just seems like they're trying to almost push the running back out the door altogether, almost like the big man in basketball.
Yeah.
They're trying to push the running back out the door. And I know it has to be discouraging if it's a guy who's playing running back in high school, and a lot of these kids come from poor backgrounds, and he's looking like, okay, I'm trying to get to college, into the NFL, and maybe this running back thing ain't the way to go. So where do you see all this going, and does it kind of frustrate you of where it may be going?
Yeah, I'll answer the last one first. Yeah, it does frustrate me because I do love running the football, and I group those running backs in with the offensive line because at the end of the day, hey, I group us as a group because we're the inside run. Like I try to love up those running backs as much as possible because I know how much of a beating those guys take. Like they gotta pass protect with us. They gotta pick up blitzes. They gotta get in there and get tackled every play when they run. So they're working hard just like the offensive line is. So I have a lot of love for those guys. What I'll say about the running back position moving forward, I think more at the higher levels right now. Obviously, we see, guys like Saquon trying to get his money. Like Austin Eckler out there with the Chargers trying to get his money, stuff like that. It's definitely a multi-positional group. Like if you don't have two, maybe even three running backs, I feel like you really don't have much. The way the game's going at the higher levels. Now if you have like a Derrick Henry, that's just your bell cow. You can give it to him 25, 30 times a game. Yeah, cool. But not everybody's doing that. So I think the Cowboys running like Zeke, with Zeke and Tony Pollard, had their 1-2 punch, got doing it that way is being more of the trend. And I think in college, I think you have to have guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield, like an Alvin Kamara type guy. So at the high school level, what we try to do is, I think all of our running backs pretty much also try to cross-train at receiver, whether it be slot receiver or something like that, because that's what's going to help them out get to the next level. If you can't catch, even if it's out of the backfield, running like a swing route or something like that, you're not really showcasing all your skills, especially getting to the next level. Because more offenses at college are starting to be more pass happy. So if you have a guy that can't catch the ball, now you're losing a threat on the field. So just for our level, just trying to make sure those guys, they might have to cross train to play receiver. So if I have a running back that plays in the backfield one play, then I bring my backup in. Well, shoot, for me at least, that running back that started for me, he might go to play slot receiver. And so we're trying to throw him the ball. It's like, hey, look, coaches, he can run the ball and he can catch it, playing slot. So I think that's kind of how the game is moving towards. I don't like that. I'm all for guys playing multiple positions, obviously, but I think I love the running back position the way it is. But definitely, I think it's just it's not a commodity like it used to be. Back when it was Barry Sanders, or Walter Payton, those guys, like running back was it. Like if you were running back, you were getting paid. So now, if you're not a receiver, you're not really getting the high dollars. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way the game's moved to being more of a passing league because the quarterbacks are so good. So yeah, it's just necessity of the talent.
Okay. One last question, and I'm gonna give it back to Jacob. And me and Jacob was talking about this earlier, and I've probably been talking about this with a few people. How is amazing or incredible is what Travis Hunter is doing. We've never seen like if you look at any sport, like we say, oh, we never seen a Michael Jordan, we never seen a LeBron, we never seen a Steph Curry.
Yeah.
We've seen two-way players in football, but not at the level of what Travis Hunter is doing. When you're playing 100 snaps a game, and the conditioning you have to be in to even remote, like even high school level, you doing two-way, but you're not at that level. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think he's doing, or how is amazing is this to see with your own two eyes to be able to see?
Yeah, so one thing we do on Sundays, I'll try to wrap this back around, but one thing we do on our Sunday meetings is we track how many reps that our guys get. Like, because we share them on both sides of the ball. So we're like, all right, if we got this many snaps on offense, this many snaps on defense, and special teams, let's say he comes up to 80 reps. Well, he's getting up there in reps. And we need to try to work with him through practice or try to give him treatment to recruit his body. When Travis Hunter played, I think it was 150 some snaps, I feel like it was in the first game, whatever it was, that blew my mind. And I watched that whole game but seeing him plays in the third and fourth quarter, like it was the first and second quarter, like he was different. Like his conditioning, his body is different than most guys. And so, and the broadcast talked about it a lot, how unique that was. And there's no prior person doing that. Now, Dion played some receiver. He played DB, or he would play on defense one day and he'd go play in a baseball game the next, but not all at one time. And so I think at that level, making the plays, he had a huge third down catch in the fourth quarter of the first game. Even though he had played all those snaps, this has never been done before, at least to my knowledge, especially at the Power 5 level in a big game like that. Now, I watched a lot of the game today as well. I'm a big Deion Sanders fan. What he's doing at Colorado, I love it. Like, I can listen to him talk, and he motivates me just by listening to him say a few words. So I listen to him all the time. So watching their game today, he did the exact same thing. Played all those snaps. I don't think it was as many, but he definitely played. He got almost to 100 again this week. So that's almost 250, 260 snaps in 2 weeks. I think the big thing is, can he keep it? Can he keep it up? And so far he is. But I think it's incredible. And I don't think we have seen that, at least at this level, ever. So, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Jacob, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So you're an offensive guy. So do you think that the fullback is still needed? And are you a 42 dive, 48 power, 46 power, 47 sweep, 48 sweep? What type of running offensive guy are you?
Yeah. So I think the fullback is still needed. I think it's just it's presented in a different way now, with the H-back that lines up between the guard and the guard and the tackle. Like some people call it a sniffer. That's basically just a fullback. Now he's not behind the quarterback in the I formation with his hand in the dirt and has the neck roll anymore. But I think that type of a lead blocker role or a kick out guy role is needed in football. And we use one. Sometimes we'll use one and a tight end. So I still believe in it. I think definitely we do run power, we do run counter, and we do run a sweep play. Some people call it outside zone. We don't call it outside zone. We're reaching and running through our gaps as offensive line. We're trying to get to the outside on our sweep play. So I definitely do believe in that. I believe in being multiple in those as well. So if you're running power, you should be at least be running power. You should be running power read, maybe a power toss read, some type of a jet read with power with your quarterback power, something like that. Or run counter every single way. Because it's the same up front for the offensive line. And you're not having to teach them anything new. Offensive line runs counter. Let the skill guys go be multiple. Because there's one thing that a skill guy loves. He loves his ego. So when he can go and do multiple things, they love it. So they'll learn it. So just make it easy for the guys up front.
So, and another thing that I see in high school, man, that on the offensive plays, a lot of time the flat is wide open. And so why you think they don't use the 7 or 8 dump pass for the tight ends anymore?
I think in a general statement, not a lot of teams are using tight ends in general. I think to answer the question a little better, I think it's not flashy. It's not the fun, cool thing anymore. I think on the majority of our passes, at least at Walkertown, we're threatening the flat. So with somebody, whether it be a receiver, running back, the tight end, H back, somebody's going to the flat to occupy that space. Because what's it going to do? Either that outside back or corner, he's going to play the flat, and something's going to be deeper down the field, or they're not, and we'll take the free yards. So my philosophy, I definitely think, yeah, they don't defend the flat. I've talked to defensive coordinators, pick their brains, and they say, I would rather, obviously, no one wants to get beat deep. So their philosophy is, hey, we're going to back it up, and we're going to all rally to the flats with everybody that's out there and make the tackle and make you do it again. So then my counter argument is like, all right, so I would rather my guy catch the ball in the flats 5 times because I guarantee you, more often than not, my guy's going to catch it 5 times and get yards, but I can guarantee your guys are not going to tackle him all 5 times. I'm going to get loose on one of them, and I'm going to make a big play. So that's my argument on that. But yeah, I do agree. Yes, they leave the flats wide open because they not want to get beat deep, and if you can get them to come up and play the flat, then you can hit them over the top.
So are you a more of a power back guy or the finesse runner?
I will say I've had more success with the finesse guy. Power back guy, nothing wrong with him. You get 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But the more I've had more success with the guy that's shifty or is fast. Because one thing you can do, you still run all your same plays with the fast guy. But you can't necessarily be as effective with the outside runs or what they call bash, which is like the running back's out. He's running the sweep, but the quarterback can run the dive, the inside run. You can't be as effective with the running back on the edge if he ain't as fast. So I'd rather have a fast guy in the backfield because I love running the quarterback so much. I can get my power back runs with the quarterback. So I'd rather have the fast guy get outside on the edge. And you're always going to have explosive plays with a fast guy wherever you put him. So I'll go with the fast guy.
Are you more of a shotgun with 4 wide outs, or are you more of under the center with the curl slants? A guy that can get the wide AC, yards after the catch. So which do you prefer, and which has been more effective for you as an offensive coordinator?
I'll say the shotgun with 4 receivers. Between those two, I'll say shotgun 4 receivers. Nothing wrong with under center. It's just these kids don't do that anymore. Now, if you want them to do it, you got to rep it. So kids can do whatever you teach them. You just got to teach them. And you got to let them get good at it. But from youth league up, more often than not, they're in the shotgun. So that's what they've been doing all their lives. So either you can try and change everything that they've known when they first get to you, or you can try to build on what they've already been doing. So I would say shotgun with the 4 wide receivers. But for me personally, I would rather have some type of a tight end or an H-back and 3 receivers. That's my ideal personnel, or they call it 20 personnel or 11 personnel.
So one of the most effective plays that we used to see in high school and in college, we don't see it anymore, and that's the option. So what happened to the option, and why doesn't people run it anymore?
So I think they do it in different ways. Either they do or they don't. If they do it, it's not the wishbone, flex bone, dive, quarterback run, or pitch. It's not that anymore. It's inside zone read. It's power read. It might be speed option when the quarterback's running towards the defensive end and pitches off of him, stuff like that. Or guys just don't do it because to get good at option stuff, that's a big chunk of your practice time. So I think, especially the high school level, when you don't have a lot of practice time anyway, unless you're going to be good at that, you really don't do it. All of our runs, we can at least read somebody, but we have to make sure we rep that stuff, and it takes a lot of our individual time to get those reads in. So that's why I'll say I don't think a lot of people do it anymore. But if they do it, they just do it in a different way, more spread stuff, where we're running inside zone and we're going to read the backside in with the quarterback, or we might be reading, a linebacker on a pitch play, stuff like that. It's just not presented like Paul Johnson at Georgia Tech or the Navy and Armies anymore, stuff like that.
Okay, back to you, Icon.
Okay, so I guess we'll end it on kind of on this note a little bit. So we're gonna go to the NFL, and you kind of tell me who is your Final Four right now, prediction wise, to make it to the Final Four on the NFC side and the AFC side, and then who are your two Super Bowl projections for right now.
All right, so I'm a diehard Ravens fan. I'll ride with them till I die, but I'm also a realist. So I always hesitate with picking the Ravens to be in the final because it doesn't really happen. So what I will say is, even though Lamar got his money and we are ready to rock and roll, you bet against the Chiefs. I think you're going to be you're going for a losing formula. So I'm at least have the Chiefs in there just so I can cover my butt. And then I think we're finally going to get that Chiefs-Bills matchup that we've been waiting for, because they play each other in the regular season. Chiefs win here, Bills win there, but we don't ever get to see them in the playoffs. So I'm just going to go with the Chiefs and Bills in the AFC. And then until somebody knocks them off, the Eagles are still the top dogs. So I'm going to go with the Eagles. And then going with – I think if every other team in the AFC has like one little thing they got to get better at, I feel like the 49ers, how good is Brock Purdy going to be? Can he get you there? The Lions look good against the Chiefs, even though Travis Kelce didn't play in game one. Lions look decent, stuff like that. The NFC is always the hardest to pick. So, I don't know. I'll go with the 49ers, the Eagles 49ers, and I think we'll get. I think probably we might have to get a rematch to Super Bowl with the Chiefs and Eagles. I don't want. So I'd say it's not gonna happen because it ain't happened before. But those are the best teams in the league.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I seen the other night with the Chiefs, if they don't get that wide receiving core together, they in trouble. Or whatever. I mean, Patrick Mahomes gonna do Patrick Mahomes, and I know Travis Kelce, when he get back, they'll be fine for those two, but they're gonna need somebody else to step up.
I feel like a big move is coming during the season. They're gonna get a Mike Evans or somebody to trade for him, and they're gonna roll just like they always do. But you said, I do agree that they were dropping money like they were getting paid. They were dropping the ball like they're getting paid to do it. So
yeah, that's true. And then as far as college football, what do you see the Final Four at the college football this year?
Okay. Well, I don't know. I ain't been keeping up with it. I don't know if Alabama's still losing or not, but before today, I was going to say Alabama was going to be in there. So let's see, college football. I think Georgia's going to trip up because of the new quarterback. I'm going to say Alabama, Michigan. I like what I saw out of Florida State against LSU last week. I like Florida State a lot. Let's see. I know Oregon struggled today, but I like Oregon. So I'll say Alabama, Michigan, Florida State, and Oregon.
Okay, because Jacob, we ain't really talked about much on college. I'm looking at because the only thing with Michigan, sometimes they always find a way to lose at the wrong. That's the only thing with Michigan. So it's kind of hard for me to bet on them. Ohio State looked kind of shaky because their quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Florida State, they look very dominant. I think Georgia's going to be there because I just think Georgia's schedule is just too weak. They're going to pretty much be there in the end unless they lose in the SEC championship game. They'll probably still put them in the Final Four either way.
Mm-hmm.
The way Alabama looking right now, it's hard for me to say they're going to necessarily be there. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for them this year. And so I would say Florida State, Georgia. I don't know. It's kind of hard with the other two. I guess I may say Michigan for now until they lose. And then probably I'm not sure who the fourth team may be. That's hard to say. Like I said, I'm kind of with you. I'm still trying to learn all these teams this year.
Mm-hmm.
So much turnover, all this NIL and transfer portal stuff going on. It's kind of hard to say who's going to kind of jump out and then take that other fourth spot. Maybe Oregon State or something, or Oregon maybe. So I'll say Oregon.
Yeah.
Right. And then, whatever. So. But anyway, Coach, it was great to have you on this show episode to get a lot of your knowledge and basically understand your mindset on where you trying to go with your program or whatever. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years as a coach and program and everything that you're trying to do personally?
Yeah. My goal, I'm enjoying being a coordinator. Like, this is my first year getting to actually be the guy and call the plays, so I'm enjoying that. If I stay at Walkertown, I would love to, but you never know with coaching. Whether it be your life situation or teaching or all these different things. But yeah, I think I want to stay a coordinator for at least let's say the next 5 years. But I think long term, I do want to be a head coach. Run my own program and stuff like that. But wherever God puts me, wherever He does, like I'm here for that. At the end of the day, I'm gonna be coaching somewhere, and I'm gonna be trying to help out kids the best I can, off the field and on the field. So whether it be in the classroom or just taking them home, after practice, mentoring them, however that looks, that's what I'm gonna be doing. So whether it be I'm in a leadership position, or doing what I'm doing now, or taking a role, stepping back, and just being a position coach, whatever it is, I'm gonna be around kids regardless. So that I know that for sure.
Okay, so tell them where they can find you as far as the program, yourself. If people want to check out the schedule and come catch a game or two, where can they find you at?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Coach Tatum 90. And then I'm Walkertown High School. So you just type in Walkertown football. We're only Walkertown around, so it'll come up straight to our Max Preps. You can see our schedule. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about football, with the whatever, breaking down games or talking about plays or just kind of doing like one-on-one type stuff, trying to gear it towards coaches on the the advanced end and for the casual that doesn't really know certain things on the lower end as well. Put that to bed a little bit because I'm coaching and teaching right now. So, but definitely towards the end of the season, going into the off season, that'll ramp back up. And I think, a lot of people love watching those videos. So on YouTube, just at Coach Tatum, if you want to subscribe to that, we'd appreciate it. But no, it is going to be dormant for a little bit now that I'm coaching and teaching at the same time right now. But yeah, that's me. I just, at Coach Tatum 90 on Twitter. I'm pretty active over there. So if you want to come holler at me, DM me if you have any questions, if you want to talk ball. If I don't know anything, I always tell people I don't know everything, but I know people that do. So I can always get you an answer for whatever you need to talk about. So yeah, hit me up for any questions.
Okay, and to answer your question, Alabama is losing 22. So they just scored. So they but they down 27-22, going points to try to cut it to 3. So we'll see how it turns out at the end, if they pull it out or not. Alabama has a way of pulling these type of games out, especially if they get some help from the referee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know how good that Texas team's going to be because, Texas, since Vince Young left, they always are like, they're always an accident waiting to happen. So
yeah, they picked them to win the conference this year, so we'll see. I mean, Oklahoma looked kind of decent, but Oklahoma's like Oklahoma always been the last several years. Explosive offense, no defense, and that's the only why they put USC up there because I love Caleb Williams. As a quarterback, he coming in, he was my number one prospect. Shador Sanders making a run at him.
Yeah.
But Caleb Williams. But I just like, Caleb Williams is gonna have to be Superman all season long just because of that defense. That's just like Drake made down in North Carolina. Last week they played decent defense. This year was one of those, barn burners again. So like the defense gonna be kind of, the Achilles heel again. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm excited. We're definitely excited about the football season tomorrow. I'm a Washington fan, so I ain't gonna get too excited until I see how really doing the field tomorrow. But I'm definitely looking forward to this season. So like I said, thank you for coming on, Coach. God bless you. You have a great night. All success to you and your team, and health, wealth, and the whole 9 yards. And hopefully we can have you back on soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. I'm definitely down to come back on, but I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. You have a good night.
You too. Appreciate it.
I walked in the place, sat by the bar, all the drinks on me, don't go too far, sitting by